God of War Ragnarok won't get photo mode until after launch. Santa Monica Studio has confirmed its upcoming mega sequel God of War Ragnarok won't launch with a photo mode. The studio made the announcement on Twitter, in response to an early preview of the game that mentioned it couldn't find the mode. So, if you are jumping into God of War Ragnarok at launch, you won't be able to get your digital photographer on. At least not right away. Santa Monica Studio says that functionality will arrive not long after launch. The good news is that you'll still be able to hit the share button and take all the gorgeous screenshots you like. People reviewing the game already are doing that, it would seem, because one of them accidentally sent their screenshots to Twitter. The absence of photo mode from God of War Ragnarok marks a departure from the now standard SIE template, which usually sees that functionality ready to go at launch. Though we know from Ruby's preview and trailers from throughout its marketing campaign that Ragnarok is a very pretty game indeed, photo mode is a way for players to interact with the art more directly. People are still extracting stunning shots from Spider-Man and Horizon Forbidden West. I expect no different from Ragnarok. If you're in the mood for even more Ragnarok content, PlayStation has just dropped a new trailer all about the game's combat and enemy design, and how it differs from the 2018 reboot. Story. Years have passed since the events of the 2018 predecessor, as indicated by a now older and more confident Atreus. We can even see that his giant genes are starting to show. Becoming rebellious against his father, Kratos must wrestle with this rebellious streak, as well as the knowledge they both gained at the end of the previous game about what Atreus' true identity is. Kratos and Atreus must face an epic adventure together once again, this time the impending Ragnarok, the legendary Norse version of an apocalypse. The pair must travel through the 9 realms once again, but unlike in the last game where we only actually saw 6 of the 9, more of the realms are available to us, adding the last 3, Vanaheim, Svartalfheim, and of course, Asgard. Kratos has made some enemies for himself, that Atreus now has to fight against as well. In God of War Ragnarok, we know that the father and son duo will have to face those past enemies like Freya, as well as new ones that may be holding the same kind of grudge, like Thor or the Allfather Odin himself. Luckily, they do not have to do so completely alone, as they will find allies along the way. The game introduces Angrboda, one of the last remaining giants and the mother of Loki's children according to Norse mythology. We also find an unlikely ally in Tyr, the Norse god of war, who is incidentally a son of Odin and half-brother of Thor and Baldur. That name should sound familiar to God of War players. Imprisoned by his father, Tyr more than likely has some daddy issues that we are going to be taking advantage of. According to the details that appear on the PlayStation Store listing description, Fimbulwinter is well underway. Kratos and Atreus must journey to each of the 9 realms in search of answers as hostile Asgardian forces prepare for a prophesied battle that will end the world. Along the way, they will explore stunning, mythical landscapes and face fearsome enemies in the form of Norse gods and monsters. The threat of Ragnarok grows ever closer. Kratos and Atreus must choose between their own safety and the safety of the realms. Gameplay. During the God of War Ragnarok story trailer, we were graced with a quick glimpse at some combat and gameplay that we will get to enjoy in the upcoming title. For starters, Kratos is wielding an arsenal of various weapons against his enemies. He can be seen using his iconic blades of chaos to cut through enemies on the battlefield, but now he also uses the massive and legendary Leviathan axe, which he can throw and recall to him just like in the first game. We also see the Guardian Shield return to bash his foes while he uses a host of new abilities. Join Kratos and Atreus as they have to fight several different colossal-sized creatures, which they are sure to cut down with the different weapons of war. Kratos never fights alone, as Atreus joins in with his bow and arrow, much like he did in the previous title. Combat is more aerial. Kratos has always been a flurry of steel when fighting, throughout the original trilogy and the mythic journey of God of War, 2018. Combat in the first Norse title was very methodical in comparison to the original trilogy, but Kratos still had his feet planted firmly on the ground. While Alistair Duncan as Mimir, Ben Prendergast as Tyr, Christopher Judge reprising his role as Kratos, Danielle Biasuti as Freya, Leia Hayes as Angrboda, Richard Schiff as Odin, Robert Craighead as Brock, Ryan Hurst as Thor, Sunny Suljic as Atreus and Usman Ali as Durlan.